This hurts. What happened in Connecticut today hurts us all because we see a violation of the ultimate innocence. We see someone taking this deep and terrible violence into a place where violence shouldn't be. And we see it and we hear about it and we watch the news. And so many of us are brought to tears. Like parents across the country, maybe across the world, I took my sons to school today. And I did so in a fashion that was just like I do every single day. And some parents can't pick up their kids today. Such deep, deep, terrible grief. Such horrible, horrible violence. And I don't understand it. And like a lot of people, it's easy for me to question, where is God? What's God doing? Is God missing? Is God absent? Did God take a break? And yet what I know about God, I can't imagine for a second that God wasn't present just a few hours ago in Connecticut. In a way that God, I think, is present in all forms of violence. And we want God to reach down God's almighty hand and, do something. And I just don't think that's the way God works. Not quite like that. But that doesn't mean that God's not present. That doesn't mean that God's not there. That doesn't mean that God isn't active. That doesn't mean that God isn't intimately present in all things. I think with this, I hope with this, that we'll hear stories of God's work and presence. It seems like we hear that in the midst of other tragedies. I hope that we'll hear it with this as well. And as we wait for those stories of grace, as we wait for those stories of love, as we wait for those stories of God's presence, I hope and pray that all of us, and especially those who have been so deeply affected, can feel God's ultimate presence and love and comfort. And to recognize it for what it is. An ultimately comforting presence. As God weeps with us. As God grieves with us. As God embraces us. As God acknowledges deep tragedy. I pray that we recognize this. God's deep love and comfort. And I pray for all who are affected by this,